So Mark, we've had done a couple landlord tenant videos in the last couple weeks about different things, and we were kind of going off the assumption, which we were told. I can't remember which government authority put out the number that there was like a 38,000 case backlog at the LTB.
Yep.
Then I saw this article the other day and I sent it over to you, and I'm going to share it with you because we were wrong or they were wrong. So what they're saying in this article is that where
Right.
is it?
So up in this area right here, you can see, according to Ontario Tribunal's annual 22-23 report, there were more than 53,000 unresolved cases at the end of March last year. That's last year.
Yeah.
What's it now? Like this is outdated information. They're just publishing it now. The figure is significantly higher than the Ontario
Ombudsman 38,000 backlog number reported in May.
Right. Like so that 53,000 could be 63,000, 70,000, right?
Yeah.
And the article's a decent article, and I was, very surprised at the 53,000 backlog cases. That's a
Well,
lot.
and it's saying it's going, but it goes both ways because tenants have issues who are frustrated with substandard living accommodations, and slumlords and problematic tenants are both taking advantage of the situation, right? Like,
I agree. I agree.
and the government has been kind of giving us this false representation, which, well, 38,000 is still a big number, Mark.
It's massive. It's massive.
But
And
53 is way worse.
it's way worse. But it's
Well,
tough.
that there were, and this is what they're worried about in this CTV article is that tensions are boiling over.
Well, that's the problem. We're seeing more and more things pop up in the news over the last year of frustration, more on the landlord side for non-payment. That seems to be making the headlines, and we'll talk about the other side too. But the financial impact on some of those people, and they're not rich people like everyone thinks they are. They're average people that invest in real estate and hope to make a return on it. And when they're paying, covering two households and costs, a lot of emotion gets involved and frustration, and then they take things in their own hands because they just have gone crazy with it, right? And it's only going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I know it's going to get extremely worse with that number. And what's the solution? What is the solution?
Well, this lawyer in this article says he thinks a good balance to consider might be to expand the reasons for eviction. A landlord still only has 3 or 4 reasons to evict a tenant, right? They haven't paid rent, they're selling a home. I think we could expand those reasons and still be fair to the tenants by giving them a certain notice period. Because so say I'm about to lose my house or my rental property because I can't pay the mortgage anymore.
Right.
I still can't get rid of the tenant to sell it, and nobody will buy it if they're in it.
The whole thing needs to be revamped. It's outdated.
Well, I think the other issue that we have is that they're still on Zoom. I don't know why everybody else in the world's back to work. And I've said it more than once. Remember when we used to go to the LTB, there'd be 20, 30, 40 cases a day sitting there.
They'd move them out pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was fast.
And now on Zoom, they're only doing so many. They can only book so many. They don't know how long they're going to take.
Yep. I know.
And then even on Zoom, because I've talked to paralegals, they make them still go to arbitration while the judge is sitting in the background having his coffee.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense.
Where when we used to go to the LTB, if they made everybody do arbitration, but you left the room and you talked before you even went in front of the judge, and he was talking to somebody else.
Yeah, and then we got a fast case here now. You guys agreed to something great, done. We got people through there quick.
Yeah.
Right. We were a part of that when that was happening, and it's changed. And what's this costing The Ontario government, Ontario taxpayer for this stuff. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars a year.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And apparently
What's
last year I heard that they were hiring 30, between
on?
30 and 40 new people, and it's done nothing, right? Like it hasn't done anything.
It's going to increase, and that article talks a lot about the last 2 years, rents increased like 20%.
Well, and they also said that Barrie is listed as one of the 12th. I'm trying to find it. Um,
12 homes.
so
It's a rental.
average rent nationally have increased to nearly 2,200, which is 10% from last year and 20% from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And the same report lists Barrie as the 12th most expensive city to rent in.
absolutely. That's just buried.
Yeah.
The thing needs to change. And then let's flip the coin now, because we talked about the tenant not paying and the tenant not taking advantage of it. And we've got some, you know, information out there and people leaving comments on some of our pages and saying, well, we don't have all the facts, but I'm not gonna, anyway, you know, there's both parties involved in this scenario where we got landlords taking advantage of things. We have landlords taking advantage of, you know, okay, I'm renovating the house or I'm moving in and then they just go in there and got them evicted, right?
And they don't move in.
They don't move in and they rent it to someone else. Like, that's wrong. Like, I mean, they gotta, you know, that's people's home. We gotta respect that too.
You know what happened to my kid this year in Toronto? So
Well,
in Toronto, if you have a new built condo within the last 5 years or whatever it is, you can raise
that's
the rent to whatever you want, right?
right.
So they told him, you either pay 300 more a month or we're gonna kick you out and put somebody else in.
Yeah, yeah,
And he calls me, Mom, can they do that? Well,
yep.
they can't raise it that high.
If it's done between November 2018, the bill was done, they can.
Yeah. So then so you either pay it or you have to leave.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And the other thing is, and we see it in Barrie a lot, is these landlords that are and there was a big to do about this 5 or 6 years ago, because these landlords that what do they call that aren't around?
What do you mean not around?
Well, they live in Toronto, they never come here.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's, yes.
The
That,
property's a gong show. They don't take care of them.
yep,
And the roofs are falling off, or the thick,
Yep.
the shingles are peeling off the roof.
Yep.
And the driveway's broken to pieces, and they're not maintaining the properties.
oh, no, I know that there's lots on both sides and I agree with that, right? Like, there's a lot of that stuff going on, but it's just a mess and I'm gonna say it, I'm always pro landlord just because I've been one and you've been one, and I feel bad for tenants that are been honest and paying hardworking people being screwed too. That's not right either, right? That's not right. But we don't hear those stories too much.
Well,
And then
you know what?
we only hear the bad ones.
One of my friends, they were told by the real estate agent owned the house.
Right.
And they said, okay, we're going to sell the house. So he left.
Yeah.
They gave him 1 month's rent. They fixed up the house. They put it on the market for 3 weeks, and then they re-rented it and he was there for 6 years. They
Yeah.
re-rented it for like $800 higher.
Yeah.
And it's a very successful agent in town here that did that.
That's not right. That's
Well,
not right.
yeah, I mean, because he was there for that long, it was cheap.
That's
So
right.
they tried it on the market for 3 or 4 weeks at a really high price.
Yeah.
Didn't get it, and then they rented it out again.
That's right. And that was a strategy that the agent knew what they were doing. And then there's the tenant will tell you it's going to take the same amount of time.
Well, he
Nine-
didn't have to leave though, Mark, really. I told him after, you didn't have
He
to
didn't have
leave.
to.
You realize that, eh?
I know.
They could have showed the house while he lived in it.
Yeah, he could have. He's just being respectful. There's lots of them, right? There's lots of them saying, okay, I don't want to hold up a sale, but he got screwed in the end. And that's the thing.
Yeah, because they just rented it right back out 2 months later.
I know, we did it. Well, I think we covered that. I think that's high cases.
Yeah, and no end in sight. So we'd love to hear somebody's projections on how to fix this nonsense.
Yeah, and you know what, to that point too, just ring a bell. If anyone ever wants to come on and talk about a story, we'd have you on the broadcast. We'd have him on.
Yeah.
I asked one guy, left a real great comment. I went, please come on. Like, I mean, hey, I'll set this up. Never hear back from him, but I'd love to have, whether you're a tenant or a landlord, I'd love to hear from some of them anyway.
Yeah.
Just comments, come on. Okay. Like
Even a
it,
lawyer who deals with it.
yeah, well, that'd be real good.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give us and drop us a note.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, see you.
See ya.